This is Six of the Universe, and I'm going to be making a video. Well, obviously I'm making a video. You won't be seeing my face. Today we're going to be talking about some of the things that a lot of other people have been talking about. I've given my comments about it, and now I'm going to make a video in length about it. The Sixers starting lineup, and what it should be, and why I disagree with one particular starter who I feel has been forced hand in there. Like, people are like, it makes perfect sense to start him, so just start him there. And I'm like, no. If we had drafted him, if we had developed him, if he were 25, 26, 27 years old, I get it. But he's 32, and I have to show you who I'm talking about. But let's start from the beginning. In order to make this lineup the best of what it is, we'll talk about the locks. Obviously, Joel Embiid is a lock. Best center in the league. He's a guy who can have a Hall of Fame career be put together, no brainer there. Ben Simmons, I know I've made my comments, people have heard my comments, but I obviously feel under Doc Rivers, his versatility, his rebounding, his defense, you can get him out and run. I feel like we'll get more transition opportunities under Doc Rivers. So this should be the best that Ben Simmons, it has to be the best that Ben Simmons has ever played. I hope I don't sound like an idiot a couple months later and be like, it didn't matter. No, it has to matter this year. So we're just going to peg Ben in, and we're going to peg Joel in. Dale Moyer said numerous times, these are two guys, so you plug them in. The other guy you had to plug in almost by default, although he played solid basketball. The problem with Tobias Harris really was this. Two problems. Number one, disappearing. Obviously, you don't even play off for big games in the regular season. But the other problem is that 19 points on 47% shooting, those are solid numbers. They're not $180 million numbers. So we also need Tobias to take a step up and a step in the right direction. But he's a lock. So when we talk about the starting lineup, these starters are locks. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris. Those three guys are locks. That leaves two starting spots. And those two starting spots are basically up for grabs in competition. Seth Curry is a guy that everyone wants to plug in for obvious reasons. Shot 45%, and if you saw his Instagram video, his handles are looking sharp. And so, when you take a look at Seth Curry, I think he is a perfect bridge, is the term that I've been using. A bridge to Tyrese Maxey. In other words, Tyrese Maxey, our draft pick, if he pans out the way we think he could pan out and develop, he's going to win that spot in time. But for now, as a in-prime spot starter, Seth Curry is younger than J.J. Redick, better defensively than J.J. Redick. So I have really no qualms at all with starting Seth Curry. That leaves one starter, and we're going to get to the controversy of it. Danny Green is not a starting player in the NBA. He started for the Lakers. They had no choice. Who did they have at wingman? They didn't have any choices. Oh, he started for the Toronto Raptors. Same thing, other than Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi pulled the championship out of that for Toronto, because if you look outside of Kawhi, what else did they really have? Like, even Pascal Siakam emerges, and then they basically were just a second-round team. If Kawhi didn't pull shit out of his ass, that championship up north doesn't happen. That's why they're still loving the guy, even though he took his talents to the Clippers, because without him, there's no championship up in Canada. Just saying, even the Raptor fan will admit it. But the fact of the matter is, there wasn't any depth in Toronto. There wasn't any depth in LA. And so a guy like Danny Green, who averages a career less than 10 points a game, can stand there and shoot. And that's where his skill begins and ends. And some might say, well, don't we need shooters next to Ben and Joel? We need shooters, but we don't necessarily need a pure spot-up guy. See, this gets into what happened this gets into what happened 2.5 years ago, when we played the Celtics. When we had Marco Bellinelli, when we had J.J. Redick, when we had Ilsan Ilyasova, it wasn't just defensive challenges that they had. The bigger challenge was the fact that none of them could put the ball on the floor. And Seth Curry gives you an additional ball handler. But generally speaking, I personally, this is just a personal opinion, I personally do not like spot starters in the NBA in general. I really don't. I'm sorry. To me, you can only start a spot starter if you got 4 elite starters on the floor. That is, if you got 4 guys, a high-level skill, then you just stick the 5th guy in there. Okay, I get it. To me, they have very low utility, and the big purpose is to have a solid starting player on a cheap salary. That's not the Sixers' world. Danny Green, we don't have 4 solid starters for one, and for second, Danny Green as a spot starter, spot up shooter. I'm sorry, I just want more out of that spot. I really do. To me, Danny Green is someone who should be getting 15-20 minutes per game. He should be shooting the ball when he's hot, and he should be going down. Or another way of saying it, there is not that much of a difference, not even defensively. I looked at his defensive highlights. I'm sorry, I'm not impressed. There is not much different from Danny Green and Furkan Korkmaz. I have those two a lot closer than you would think. So can Danny Green help us? Is he one of the few 6'6" or above guys on the roster? Yeah. But I would seriously consider being undersized and putting a more skilled player there than to say we have a 6'6" pogo stick who shoots balls. Danny Green is just not good enough to start in the NBA. He's not a starting caliber player unless you have LeBron, AD, and Kawhi. Do we hope that Joel Embiid and Ben can get there? Yeah, but even if they did, I still want to weaken the lineup just to say, we have Danny Green here. And so somebody say, what about the better experience, etc.? He could give that in training camp. He could give that off the bench. He's a part of the team. He's just not good enough to start. So who is good enough to start? That's the interesting thing. It's literally wide open. I thought Shake Milton played very good basketball. Even in the bubble, shooting 40% from 3, he was just put in a situation where you weren't getting any screen and rolls, you weren't getting any real flow to the offense, you weren't really helping out a 23-year-old in his first ever playoff experience. To judge him on that is extraordinarily unfair. Plus you add the fact that he shot good percentages from 3. We would have liked for him to shot more. We would have liked for him to take the bull by the horns more. But that was not a conducive environment for him to do so. Where a coach who was utterly disinterested and knew damn well that he was being fired, that just wasn't a conducive environment. Compared to Doc Rivers, who has developed Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who has had young guards in the past, had a young Rajon Rondo. As a matter of fact, if you think about it, the Sixers have Shake Milton, and then the Sixers go and they draft Tyrese Maxey. Doc Rivers is building, I know we are traumatized by the Eagles, but this is a good comparison, a good word. We are now building a guard factory. We needed it. Me and DJ, we both talked about last year. You have shit for guards, and that's why when you raid Trey Burke for no reason at all, you ended up with Hall Neto. And now Hall Neto is basically fighting for his NBA career up in Washington. Who gives a shit? And so now you have Shake Milton, now you have Seth Curry, and now you have Tyrese Maxey. You have 3 really good guards, and so the guard position, which used to be a position of weakness, utter weakness, now you look at the guard position, and now you're saying, we got some ballers here. They may not be quote-unquote proven, but we know with their talent, they can put up points. Seth Curry can get hot in a hurry. We saw what Shake Milton could do. And that Tyrese Maxey kid, I'm going to get that video out. That kid is good. He one of my favorite things about him is he has a nice hang dribble. And a hang dribble is where you put the ball out in front and you use that hang dribble to create separation. He just does a nice job. Really awesome first step. Not the most explosive first step you'll see, but it's a good first step. Kind of like if you were grading first steps from a 1 to a 10, I'd say his first step is an 8. He has a good first step. He mentioned in the video on ESPN that he was injured, so his explosiveness wasn't really all the way there. So I'm looking forward to seeing Maxey in an NBA court with that injury healed, because there may be more explosiveness than what we have seen, and we might have lucked out on that as far as the draft. Because if he shows us a quicker burst on an NBA setting than he did in college, teams are going to be regretting it, because he is a great finisher already, and he has great body control. If he has an elite first step, look out! Just look the F out! If he has an elite first step. He has a good first step, but if he has an elite one, it's over. It's over, baby. It's over. So, point is, now we have some good guards. We have Joel Embiid, we have Tobias Harris. We just don't have a small forward. Doc Rivers talked about Tobias Harris being a big 3, 4, and we all saw the issue with that. It wasn't a defensive issue. Tobias Harris actually did a pretty good job defensively on the wing, in my opinion, last year. It was Tobias Harris in triple post. It was Tobias Harris out on the perimeter, not having the foot speed to get past the other wing. Although, here's the important caveat. Unlike that idiot, Doc Rivers runs screens. Hallelujah! We are going to see the big man come up and set a screen, whether it's Ben Simmons, whether it's Joel Embiid. You're going to have two really good screeners. One who could roll, one who could pop. Tobias Harris or Shea Milton or Seth Curry or inside ball handler will get some space or separation. There will be a dual threat. The guy off the ball, the guy with the ball. You could pass to the strong side. Some offense. Some real basic basketball offense has returned to the city of Philadelphia. Hallelujah! And one of the biggest benefits is going to be Tobias, because Tobias is not going to be asked to take the ball from 30 feet and try to create something. Tobias and Ben are similar in opposite ways. Tobias Harris can't take the ball from 30 feet to the rim and finish because Tobias is too slow. Ben can't do it because he doesn't have the set and the gravity, and his handle isn't really creative enough, in my opinion. Just my opinion. If he had that creative handle, if he could slither through the defense, he'd be able to do it even without a jump shot, but his creativity isn't at that. So opposite reasons, but neither of them are meant to carry the ball 30 feet from the rim. But you could do it if you had some screens. The Clown, worst coach in NBA history, had no concept of a screen game. Doc Rivers loves screens. So, I'm just really excited about that. I had to go on like a couple of minute tangent about that. We are going to have screens in the city of brotherly love. For the first time since what? Doug Collins? Come on. Oh. So, who should be that fifth starter? It's open. If Matisse Thybulle shoots 40% from 3, could it be him? Yeah. Could Shake Milton have that spot? I really love the idea of multiple ball handlers, so I would not mind it at all. I would welcome it. Could Tyrese Maxey come in? He has a 6'7" wingspan. That's the thing. If you want to guard the wings and you want someone with a long wingspan, Shake Milton has a 7-foot wingspan. Maxey has a 6'7" wingspan. I think Isaiah Joe has a 6'10" wingspan. Yeah, Isaiah Joe is another guy, a dark horse. I'll make separate videos. I did not like the idea of, when they said, we promise Isaiah Joe. I was worried shitless about picking him 21. He was not a first round grade, in my opinion. He doesn't have explosiveness, he doesn't have a handle, and he doesn't have separation. I think his utmost potential is to be a glue guy. I think that his potential is to be the Bruce Bowen of the NBA. Corner shot, take what the defense gives you, and be a good defender. I think that's Isaiah Joe's role in the league. At 21, I would have been pissed. At number 49, I have zero problem. You bring him in, he can compete for that wing spot. But my main argument is that Danny Green does not have upside and is not good enough for me to start. I want at least 15 points per game. I mean, I'm just like Doc Rivers. Score points. I want to score a lot of points. And Danny Green, he could shoot the free and he could produce offensively. He could come off my bench. But I just don't see him as a guy who's going to score the ball like that for this team. And whose defense will be marginal. So which one of our young players would I pick? I just think it sends a bad message when a guy like Shake Milton plays well and comes strong, has a starting spot, and then we say to him, "Hey kid, sit down, we're going to put some 32-year-old spot shooter here." I just think it sends the wrong message. And I also think, like I said in another video, Shake Milton and Tyrese Maxey is the future. If we don't make a trade for Zach LaVine, if we don't make a trade for Buddy Hield, if we don't make a trade for James Harden, Shake Milton and Tyrese Maxey is your backcourt of the future. Seth Curry is 30 years old, guys. I'm just going to be honest. Seth Curry is the bridge to Tyrese Maxey. He is the bridge to a Shake Milton. That backcourt is the future. And for me, my ideal lineup, I would just put Ben Simmons as small forward, and I would roll with that young backcourt, and I would let Seth Curry come off the bench and bomb away like a six-man. To me, Shake Milton and Tyrese Maxey together is the future. If you don't go and acquire a Hield, Harden, etc., that's your future, and I'm looking forward to that future. But if you want to use Seth Curry as a stopgap guy, that's okay too. I would still start Shake Milton with a 7-foot wingspan, and I think that he could guard threes. And matter of fact, the same thing with Maxey, 6'7" wingspan. I think he could guard threes. Or Matisse Thybulle, or Isaiah Joe. It's nothing with Danny Green. It's just he's not young enough or explosive enough for me to be a starter. So, where would I lean if you held this to my head and I had to make a decision right now? To me, I want Shake Milton. I want Tyrese Maxey because Maxey's defense, and you can have Seth Curry. He'll play 30 minutes tonight, guys. I want him on the floor with Ben Simmons for a lot of the time. I want him bombing the threes. But if you want a defensive lineup, want to hide some things, Seth Curry is a six-man. So I go with my young backcourt of the future in Shake Milton and Tyrese Maxey. I put Ben Simmons as small forward, Tobias Harris as my power forward, and Joel Embiid as my center. And everyone thinks it, and I believe it as well. Looking at his shots, not broken at all. I believe that Tyrese Maxey will be a productive shooter. I believe that Shake Milton has already shown to be a great shooter, one of the best shooters in the NBA. Matter of fact, that's a big reason. If you want to start Shake Milton and Seth Curry together, that'd be great. Can you imagine 2 40+% three-point shooters with Tobias Harris? Bam! I just don't see Danny Green starting. I just don't see it. I don't think he has the talent to beat the young players we have here. And that the long-term future of the franchise says, start the young players, develop the young players. Danny Green's veteran experience coming off the bench will help. But as a starter, he just doesn't do enough for me. So there's two lineups. The one that I just said, Shake, Maxey, Ben, Toby, and Embiid. The lineup that I think we might see is you're going to see Ben, Seth, Tobias, and you might see an Isaiah Joe. And the reason I say Isaiah Joe is going to take this spot is because I like Isaiah Joe's shooting ability, and I like his length and youth. And I think that Isaiah Joe can maybe play a little bit of a small power forward and enjoy Embiid. I just like the idea of youth and versatility in the lineup. So those are some of my guesses. Peace.